Thanks for joining me, everybody. As I'm sure you can tell in the title, I'm going to be talking a little bit today, very quickly, about managing Limnophilia. And you're looking at a whole bunch of it right here. That tank in the middle is having a little fit, so just disregard him. But we've got some Limnophilia right up there, okay, mixed in with some other plants. And then we've got a whole giant thing of it right there, which I'm about to trim back. And we have a more ideal amount, at least in my opinion, right in the middle of that tank right there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Right back in there. Sorry for the shakiness. Right in there. That's how I want it to look. And how do we get it to look that way? Well, I'm going to show you that. Now, how we don't want it to look is like this. Now, that is out of control. And I let it get out of control on purpose because of several factors. Maybe you can see, the glare is real bad right now, but there's a whole bunch of CPDs, celestial pearl danios, that live deep in that giant bush of Limnophilia here in my 75 gallon. And also, the coolest part probably, is most of the cherry shrimp in here just hang out right up on top of this bush because the food kind of filters through there and they're well protected. It's got stems coming out the top, and I've got lights up here that are growing my plants out of the water. Not very bright, but they're doing the job. But I've got to get that trimmed back, and we'll save that for another video. But right now, let's get back to these other two tanks. So with this particular tank, which is a tank I kind of use as a farm tank, I really just planted this in an effort to harvest plants out of it to use in other tanks. And it has been relatively successful. The Rotala is doing very poorly in this tank, but the Ludwigia has done real well, and most everything else. But you can see there's some Rotala H-Ra right down in there that's getting smothered out by that giant Limnophilia. And there's actually some Alternathera right back in there. And so I'm gonna do a little time lapse here as I clean this out. But all I'm gonna do is go in and use my fingers to pinch these stems and kind of cut them with my fingernails. It's soft enough to where it's really easy to do. And I'm going to bring that whole bush down into size to where it kind of fits with the rest of this. But understand that this Ludwigia I'm purposefully letting grow out. This needle leaf Ludwigia, same thing. These guys in the back, the Bacopa and the Ludwigia back there, I'm purposefully letting those grow out so I can cut them and harvest them later. This is not really a display tank. My display tank of that style is right here, which is kind of buried by alocasia right now. But this is more of the look that I'm ultimately going for, and it's happening real well right here. But I have to pinch that Limnophilia back basically every 10 to 12 days. The rest of the plants in here can go up to a month without me trimming them, and that Alternathera, however you say that word, I only trim it back about every 3 or 4 times that I trim the rest of it. I kind of like it to stick out like that. It's got a little bit of Ludwigia in there with it. But anyway, let's get on to business. Limnophilia Sessiliflora from Southeast Asia, and in an aquarium with any kind of livestock, it's going to get most of the nutrients it needs from the water column. It is a stem plant, so you can cut it and replant it, but you do not really have to fertilize your tank for this to grow. It does need some kind of substrate to be anchored in, but I have found that almost any viable aquarium substrate will work. Now that no doubt made a mess, but it is relatively easy to clean that up with the net. I'll let it kind of collect in the corners for a few minutes and I'll come back and scoop it all up. But you can see through the time lapse I just did, or the sped up video is what I'll end up editing it with, that it just took a couple minutes, and you just pinch it right back on down, and it does look a little ragged at the moment, but in a couple of days it will have new growth coming out. And Limnophilia is a wonderful plant. This tank here has CO2 injection, and it has 2 lights on it. Actually, I need to put the other one back down so it doesn't get too hot. There we go. It's running 2 lights, 2 in-crew lights, and it does have CO2, so the plants grow extra fast. But this one right above it has Limnophilia with no CO2, and they don't grow as fast, but they're just as healthy. It's really a very easy and nice looking aquarium plant. So thanks for joining me today to talk a little bit about Limnophilia. One of my favorites, from what I can gather from the internet, it is not legal in some countries. So if you can't get this exact version of Limnophilia, I'm very sorry. But if you can, this is one of the better investments to make in a stem plant. I have it in a ton of my tanks, just because it's kind of the fastest plant. Here's no CO2. Super low tech tank, low light, sponge filter. It's growing great right there. I've got it up here in this tank, which is super low light. Hardly has any light at all. That floodlight that's on it is on its dimmest setting. That Limnophilia is doing great. Got to trim that one back a little bit. That one's in there, but it's just really a versatile plant that can get your tank going really quick. So thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, you know what I'm about to say. Like it, subscribe, leave me a comment, tell me how stupid I am, tell me what I got wrong, tell me what I got right. Any of that stuff. It helps other people see these videos, and it just makes it fun for all of us. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.